What is good, guys? Jiri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira 2 takes place this weekend, and we're going to be breaking down the early predictions, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event of the evening. We're going to be breaking down this entire card, man. This card is stacked. It was supposed to be McGregor, but McGregor had a pinky toe injury, and he pulled out. What happened to the McGregor that was willing to fight anybody and never pulled out, man? I didn't think McGregor was going to pull out, but he pulled out, and I don't think he'll ever be the same. But let's get it. Starting with the early prelims, we have a lot of canceled bouts. Of course, McGregor canceled, Jamal Hill, Khalil Rountree, then Jamal Hill, Carlos Urberg. Now it's Anthony Smith, Roman Dolidze. And it just makes it very, very tricky. So, prelim, Ricky Simón versus Vinicius de Oliveira. Let's break them down. Vinicius de Oliveira is coming off of a great knockout with a flying knee against Bernardo Sopage. And his record, Vinicius Oliveira, is 20 wins, 3 losses, and 0 defeats. And 0 ties. Ricky Simón, on the other hand, is a great dog. I would consider him a veteran in the UFC. And his record is 20 wins and 5 losses. His 2 last losses were to Song Yadong and to Mario Batista. Mario Batista, he did good in the first round, took him down, but then Batista was able to get back up and work him and able to capitalize on him with body shots because Ricky Simón got tired. Vinicius Oliveira has a little bit of trouble where he was getting controlled at some points, but he ends up finding the KO. And it's very interesting because this is like a striker versus wrestler matchup, but Ricky Simón is very, very well rounded, and he's the minus 225 favorite. Plus 185 for Vinicius Oliveira, and 31 years old for Ricky Simón, 28 for Vinicius Oliveira, 5'6 for Ricky Simón, 5'9 for Oliveira, 70-inch reach for Ricky Simón, and 71-inch reach for Vinicius Oliveira. Majority of topology is going by decision. I think this goes the distance as well. If you're going Oliveira, you're going Oliveira by KO. Right now, guys, I'm going to choose Ricky Simón, but pay attention to this Friday, guys, with the weigh-ins, how we look at them, how we see their faces. We're going to see my last-minute predictions, and we're going to be able to judge my last final predictions based off of the face-off. But for right now, I'm going Ricky Simón. And I know Vinicius Oliveira has that KO power, but this is a big step up in competition, and I know he has the flying knee. You know, he could throw it there. He has a very good combination, but I think you got to be like a Carlos Pratos if you're gonna finish a guy like Ricky Simón, because Carlos Pratos was able to capitalize on Charles Radke and throw a hard knee to the body, and I don't think Vinicius Oliveira is gonna body shot. He's gonna shoot to the body like Mario Batista. If you're gonna outclass Ricky Simón, you have to outclass him by getting him tired and working him. It's crazy because Song Yadong was able to finish him, and Mario Batista was able to almost finish him in the 3rd round. So we'll see how far this goes. I'm going Ricky Simón, 30-27, 29-28, 29-28 to win this fight by unanimous decision. Next fight, Carlos Hernandez versus Ray Tsuruya. So this guy trains with Taisuro Taira, so you know this guy's going to be a minus 400, bro. This guy is huge favorite, 9-0, undefeated. He's making his UFC debut. He comes from Japan, and Carlos Hernandez has had a little bit of, his losses are pretty bad. Alan Nascimento submission, and then his last loss by Taisu Taira by KO, left hook to ground and strikes, was bad, bro. He beat Dennis Bondar, technical decision. And I don't know, Carlos Hernandez, he beat him bad. He beat Bonder bad with those elbows and finished him. He has very good elbows on top. Plus 310 for Carlos Hernandez, and then minus 400 for Ray Tsuruya. When you look at this fight, you have to take into consideration how young Tsuruya is. 22 years old and 1 week. This guy's like 2 years older than me, bro. Versus a 30-year-old who's been in this game, who's been in the flyweight division forever, 5'8 to 5'6, 67-inch reach to 68. I'm going Ray Tsuruya just because I'm very high on Taisu Taira. You guys saw that. I had him to win by KO, and he actually technically won by KO because he actually ended up hurting Alex Pereira. And I'm going to go with him just because I think a lot of these prospects that come into Japan don't play, and when they're here and they make their UFC debut, they're not here to quit. They're here to take this as a professional career. And I think he's more hungry than Carlos Hernandez, and I think his training camp and his gym is way better than Carlos Hernandez. So I'm going Ray Tsuruya to win by unanimous decision, 29-28, 29-28, and maybe 29-28. I just feel like he's not going to be able to get the finish on Carlos Hernandez. Too much of a dog. A lot of people have submission, but I'm going to go by decision, 29-28. It's going to be a great fight, bro. These prelims are stacked. Next fight, Andrei Arlovski versus Martin Buday. Andrei Arlovski, a crazy veteran, guys, with a record of 34, 23, and 0, which is insane how long he's been in the UFC. Martin Buday has a record of 13, 2, and 0. His most recent loss is to Shamil Gaziv, who got fraud checked by Rosenstrike. And if we look at Andrei Arlovski, he's on a 3-fight losing skid. Marcos Rodrigo de Lima, submission. Dontel Mays, John Jones, the guy who injured John Jones. And Waldo Cortez Acosta, decision unanimous. I thought Costa was going to be able to finish Arlovski, but he wasn't able to. And then he ends up beating Robeles de Spain. So Costa's, he's better than I thought. Minus 280 for Martin Buday, plus 225 for the moderate underdog. 45 years old for Andrei Arlovski, 32 years old for Martin Buday, 247 to 264. Andrei Arlovski's faster, he's lighter, but he's not going to come in as heavy as his opponent. 6'3", 6'4", 77-inch reach to 77. I'm going to be going Martin Buday just because I think Martin Buday has better overall. If this is prime for prime, I'm going Andrei Arlovski, bro. He was able to not get chinned against Costa, even though Costa was dancing here and there. But I'm going Martin Buday just because he's younger, and I'm taking the age into a massive consideration because I feel like Martin Buday doesn't beat him if Andrei Arlovski's 10 years younger. I really don't. And the fact that there is almost identical, I think this goes the distance. Look at Tapology. Majority of Tapology has this going decision, but Arlovski does get chinned. But I don't think Martin Buday does chin him. I think Martin Buday is going to win this by probably a boring unanimous decision. I'm going to go 30-27, 29-28, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's split. And this fight ends up looking more competitive than we thought it would be, because a lot of people are going to be chasing this minus 280 and they're just going to use it as a parlay piece. But you have to be careful when you're using these parlay pieces because Andrei Arlovski is a guy who has been in the UFC, and don't fear the man who's new to the UFC. Fear the man who's been in a young man's game forever. You know what I'm saying? So the Pitbull has a chance, but I'm going Martin Buday just because, and I'm going to be taking the over 2.5 in this fight. I'm not going to pick. I mean, obviously, my prediction is Martin Buday for now, 29-28 decision. But I'm going over 2.5 just because I think it's a little bit safer, and this fight definitely goes the distance. Next fight, Waterson-Gomez versus Gillian Robertson. Gillian Robertson is a beast, 13-8-0. Her record does not match her actual skill set. It's just women's MMA, so you never know. Michelle Waterson, on the other hand, the karate hottie, 18-12-0, veteran as well, and she's more of a veteran than Gillian Robertson. Her last 4 losses are to Marina Rodriguez 3 years ago, Amanda Lemos 1 year ago, Luana Pinheiro, decision split, who lost to Angela Hill, so Luana's not as good as we thought, and then Marina Rodriguez. So she lost to Marina Rodriguez twice, but this time she lost by KO from punches on mount, and it's pretty crazy because she's the plus 165 underdog, and her opponent is the minus 200. I have more confidence in Gillian Robertson than I do in Martin Buday. And I know it's women MMA, but just because Michelle's 38 years old, 29 years old, strawweight division, 5'3 to 5'5, 62 and 63, I think Michelle Waterson is very weak. I don't think she's as strong as Gillian Robertson. And not only that, I think Gillian Robertson is going to take her down and just control her. 30-27 for a full 15 minutes. Michelle Waterson probably gets back up in the second round and then gets taken down. And then they end up fighting for the whole second round. And I wouldn't be surprised if Gillian Robertson ends up finishing Michelle Waterson, just because Michelle Waterson, she's not in the pinnacle of her career right now, and majority of Tapology has Gillian Robertson by submission, but I'm gonna go Gillian Robertson by decision or third round submission. I don't think she finishes her in the first 2 rounds, just because Michelle Waterson has gone more than 15 minutes, like, how many times in her career? She's gone like almost 15 times in her career. Decision, 5-round fights, decision. You know, Michelle Waterson, when it comes to her, she's going to go full 15 minutes in my opinion. And she's tough as nails. So give me Gillian Robertson to win this fight by unanimous decision, 29-28, 30-27, and 30-27. Just because she's younger, she's stronger, she has better technique on her takedowns, and not only that, her last one against Paulina Viniana. I know Poliana is too busy with Alex Pereira, and she's not as good as we thought, but that's a great win. Tabitha Ricci lost by unanimous decision. Not that bad. You know, you're going to decision with Tabitha Ricci, who's a contender, and then Piera Rodriguez submitted her, and Mayra Apova submission. So she has that submission. If you want submission by Gillian Robertson, I just think that she doesn't have the tentative factor to finish her opponent. She's happy at winning a decision, and she's happy at just winning. You know, she's not going to chase As much as a guy like Gabriel Bonfim will chase against Nicholas Dalby and then lose position over submission. She is a girl who has position over submission. So she will lay on her and pray. And I'll take the minus 200. Let's get it. Next fight, Payton. Talbott. Hey. Y'all know the seizure, that signature seizure that he does when he wins. He goes, that's so sick, bro. I think Talbott is going to just run through him, guys. Minus 1,600, guys. 8-0 for Talbott. Talbott really showed me who Cameron Simon really was. Cameron Simon is the guy who just kicks your nuts and wants to get the 5-minute break. Oh, nut shot. He kicks your nuts on purpose in order to get the 5-minute break, the 2-minute break, any type of break. Cameron Simon was tired, bro. He was kicking Payton Talbott's nuts on purpose in order to get a break in between. And he showed me Cameron Simon is not as good as we thought. And not only that, he put the division on notice with his first 2 wins, bro. Also on Dana White Contender Series, Reyes Cortez, Nick Aigur, a submission choke. He was getting controlled in that fight, though. He was getting controlled in that fight bad. And then Cameron Simon, he beat him. I don't really like Cameron Simon. I know a lot of people are high on him, and I was pretty high on him too. But I just don't like the fact that he's kicking Payton Talbot's nuts on purpose in order to get some time in between. He's going against Yanis Ghemmouri, who I don't know who the fuck this guy is, bro. He fought one time in the UFC against William Gomis and got knocked out. So this is his second fight in the UFC, and he's the plus 800 dog from France. This is a short notice bout for him because nobody wants to fight Talbot, man. He's a great prospect. 25 years old for Talbot, 29 years old for his opponent. 135 bantamweight division. This guy's coming from featherweight all the way to bantamweight. 5'10" to 5'9", 70 inch reach to 69. I think Talbot is better overall, and I think a minus 1600 is a great parlay piece, bro. It's a great anchor to whatever you have. You want to make a 2-leg, 3-leg, whatever you have, 3 legs, 4 legs. I don't do no more than 4 legs. But if you do a 2-leg, use Payton Talbot as an anchor, just because he's more technical and I think he's gonna finish his opponent. I shouldn't have went down to Tapology just because I think Tapology is 87% of them are by KO. And I think he has the submission there as well, but I'm going to be going Payton Talbot to win this fight by 2nd round KO, just because he tends to find his finishes in between. It's not, sometimes it's the first round, but he tends to flow a little bit, let the flow, let the time marinate, and then he gets his finish. He's more of a technician, and he finds the target, and then he capitalizes on it. But he doesn't just go in there wailing. He's a very technical artist, and I think he's going to win this fight, and he deserves to be a minus 1600. In some bookies, you can find him as a minus 1100. So if you're going to take him right now and use him as an anchor piece, as an anchor to your parlay. Payton Talbot to win this fight by 2nd round KO. Let's get it. Yanis Ghemmouri, I hope you can stay in the UFC, buddy, because you're getting fed right to the wolves. I hope you got a good enough paycheck for that. Charles Jourdain versus Jean Silva. This card is stacked, bro. The fact that we still are on the prelims and we have Charles Jourdain versus Jean Silva. Charles Jourdain with a record of 15-7-1. Jean Silva with a record of 12-2-0. Jean Silva is on a 5. In his last 5, he's won all of them. He's on a very long win streak. Valdemar, obviously he just got into UFC from Dana White Contender Series. Kevin, he beat him by decision. And then Weston Wilson, he KO'd him, who Weston Wilson just got a submission over Jekka. Excuse me. So Weston Wilson is a lot better than a lot of people expected. I said in my other prediction video that Weston Wilson loves to get KO'd, but Weston Wilson doesn't like to get KO'd. He actually can be a problem in this division, and Jean Silva, it just shows how good Jean Silva is. Charles Jourdain, on the other hand, has lost to Sheen Woodson. I don't know why it says split decision. I thought Sheen Woodson won that 30-27. And Ricardo Ramos he beat, and then Kron Gracie, who is a nobody, and then Nathaniel Wood he lost by decision, and Shane Burgos. So Charles Jourdain loves losing a decision. He just loves losing a decision. And he's the minus 130 favorite, but he's Canadian, so I'm not taking that, bro. Especially after how he looked against Shane Woodson. Plus 110 for Jean Silva, 28 years old to 27, 145, 145, 59, 57, 69 to 69, almost identical. When you look at this fight, guys, you think that Charles Jourdain's going to wrestle. Or he's going to have a lot of moments in the boxing. But I think if you're going to beat a guy like Charles Jourdain, you need to be a specialist. You need to be good at one thing way better than he is. And if you have the power attribute, that can even out the playing field. I'm going to go Jean Silva plus 110 just because Charles Jourdain has showed that he's a little bit on the decline. And he is nowhere near from when he started the UFC. When he started the UFC, he Sparta kicked. his opponent. He's showing everybody he's going a split decision with Shane Burgos or majority decision. He's putting up great fights. But then when he keeps losing more decisions like Nathaniel Wood and then Shane Woodson, you're like, this guy has holes in his game that many people can capitalize on. A guy who's longer than him, or a guy, I know Gene Silva's shorter, but a guy who can use his range and capitalize on the inside and outside movement. I think Gene Silva is going to be better overall, and I think the only thing that he has to worry about is the grappling department. You know, Charles Jourdain, who claims he's a striker, is going to be shooting for his legs. He's going to be hugging his nuts for life. So Gene Silva has to be prepared for that. And I think Gene Silva should be able to win this fight. But you got to take into consideration this fight is going to the distance, and Charles Jourdain always goes 15 minutes. So if he can make Gene Silva gas, he can definitely capitalize on that with the wrestling. And if Gene Silva looks like a fish underwater or on the ground, he's gonna be in for a long 15 minutes. I don't see Charles Jourdain finishing G Silva. If anything, I see the Silva finish on. I see the finish on Silva's side. I'm gonna go Gene Silva to win this fight by unanimous decision. I want to see what Tapology has. Tapology has one person's winning by decision. Tapology has 69.6% of people choosing Gene Silva. If you want to go over 2.5, where this fight definitely goes the distance, that's a little bit more safer. But I'm going to be choosing the underdog, Gene Silva, to beat Charles Jourdain. And I think he'll show a masterclass in the third round. If he doesn't finish him, and he's looking good, and he's entering his flow state, I think he'll look very good in the third round, and he'll have a dominant third round. His most dominant round will be the third round, in my opinion. So I'm going Gene Silva to win this fight by unanimous decision, 29-28, split 29-28, by split decision. Up the prelim, Cub Swanson versus Andrei Fili. This is a very good card. Cub Swanson with a record of 29-13-0. His opponent Andrei Fili with a record of 23-11-0. Cub Swanson's last win was to Hakeem Dawodu by decision, and Dan Ige knocked out Andrei Fili pretty bad 4 months ago. You have to take that into consideration because Andrei Fili can get chinned, but Dan Ige hits way, way, way harder than probably Cub Swanson, but it's not about that. It's about finding the mark on the chin like we saw with Johnny Walker, who a guy like Volkan Oezdemir was able to knock him out. Lucas Almeida KO, and then he won against Bill Algeo, which is a great win. He lost to Nathaniel Wood by decision. Everybody's losing to Nathaniel Wood. Joe Anderson Brito, he got KO'd. So he's been KO'd almost two times in his last almost two times in his last three losses. Cub Swanson has been see, I don't count this as a KO because he got a body kick and then he got ground and pound and then he finished him and then the ref stopped it. It's not like Andrei Fili who gets he can't move no more, so he stops. It's like a TKO more, in my opinion. So Cub Swanson got TKO'd by Giga Chikadze, and then Jonathan Martinez TKO'd him with leg kicks. So he's susceptible to the leg kicks and the body shots, Cub Swanson. He tends to always be in a barn burner, and the UFC knew what they were doing when they put these two guys up against each other because not only are they almost identical in reach, kind of, and height, but stylistically, this is a perfect matchup to go to start off the prelims because you know these guys are going to dirty box, they're going to exchange in the clinch, and I don't see anybody grappling in this fight unless they get hurt. So when we look at this fight, a majority of people are on Fili by decision, and 75% are on Cub Swanson by decision. 76 are on Fili, and if you're going to think of a finish on one side, people are on the finish more likely happening in Fili's hands. I'm going to go Cub Swanson just because I saw his interview in Jackson podcast, and I know this is going to seem a little biased. I'll tell you guys right before anything, Cub Swanson is one of my favorite fighters, and he deserves to be. His Hall of Fame moment against Doo Ho Choi was an awesome fight, and that's how I first found out about him. And I know it's kind of a casual take, but Cub Swanson was very good, and also in the Jackson podcast, he showed another side to him that I never knew about him because he's talking in the interview saying that he was training with a guy, and this guy ended up going too hard on him, and they were going back and forth, and then they ended up going too hard, and his opponent that he was sparring with threw a flying knee, and he hit him, and he ended up breaking his orbital, and he was asking himself whether he wants to do this again or not, or whether he's in the right position, or what he's doing with his life, because he broke his whole orbital because of a dirty sparring partner, and he really opened up in that podcast, and he said that his training has gotten way better, and not only that, he's more safer in the sparring exchanges, and he's a better coach now. So not only is he a better coach, but I know this kind of yap, but I think the SoCal fighter is really coming into his own, and I know he's 40 years old. We have to take into that into consideration. He's versing a 34-year-old, but when it comes to the dirty boxing and the exchanges, if we can get even a little slight juice of prime Cub or a little slight, just a little bit of Cub Swanson to show up, I'd say at least 30% of Cub Swanson to show up. I think he could beat Andrei Fili. I don't think Andrei Fili is that good, and I don't think he ever will be that good. And I think prime for prime, Cub Swanson is way better. You just have to take the age into consideration. And I'm gonna be backing Cub Swanson on this one, so I'm gonna choose this dog. But I recommend you guys choose this fight. Definitely goes the distance, or over 1.5 or over 2.5. Cub Swanson's a great dog, and I think he can capitalize on Andrei Fili's open chin. He tends to leave his chin in the air when he's exchanging, and when he drops the left hook, he tends to drop his right hand. So we'll see. Up the card. Give me Cub Swanson, though. Give me Cub Swanson to win that by unanimous decision. 29-28, 29-28, and maybe split decision. Joe Pyfer versus Marc-André Barriault. Marc-André Barriault has lost to Chris Curtis by decision split. Prior to that, he beat Eric Anders, Julian Marquez, Anthony Hernandez, and he lost to Anthony Hernandez, who was fluffy, and then Jourdain Wright he beat by submission. So he has a good submission game. Joe Pyfer was on a pretty good win streak. Ozzy Diaz, Dana White Contender Series, Allen, Gerald Mearshart, Abdul Raksa. He submitted him after he dropped him, and then he lost to Jack Hermanson, which showed that Jack Hermanson is a great veteran and he's good. Minus 265 for Joe Pyfer body bags, plus 210 for Marc-André. 27 years old to 34, middleweight division, 6'2 to 6'1, 75 to 74 inch reach. When you look at this fight, guys, majority Tapology has Joe Pyfer to win by KO, but we know that if Joe Pyfer cannot get the KO, a guy like Jack Hermanson can dance around him. And I think this fight touches the second round. I don't think this fight, I don't know if it touches the third round, but I think this fight definitely touches the first round. So I'm going, second round, I think I'm going the over 1.5, just because I know it will be there. And you have to look at the bookies. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going the over 1.5. But I do think Joe Pyfer can finish him inside the distance. Marc-André, I just think Marc-André is really tough, and I wouldn't be surprised if he loses by unanimous decision. I think he's going to try to take down Joe Pyfer, and not saying that he's going to have a lot of success, but when we look at this fight, Marc-André is very top-heavy, so if he gets Joe Pyfer to the ground, he will be able to stay there. It's just that Joe Pyfer is very good at boxing. He's very good with his range, and he's very good at finding the shot. And if it gets down and Joe Pyfer's on top of you, then he could show that he has better, his submissions when he's on top control. He's better on top control than he is on half guard or full guard. I just think that Marc-André Barriault is not that good, but he's tough. He's not that good, but he's tough. So give me Joe Pyfer to win this fight by third round KO. And I think this is going to be a hard-fought battle. I don't know why. I just think this is going to be a scrap. And I think Marc-André is going to do better than a lot of people expect him to. And I wouldn't be surprised if it goes over 1.5 and it goes the distance. I'm going Joe Pyfer body bags by third round KO, just because I think he's going to struggle a little bit in the first round, getting into it. And then he'll go. Or maybe he just outclasses him and gets a first round KO. I just think Marc-André is too tough and he's hard to finish. Plus 210 for Andre, minus 265 for body bags. Give me the minus 265 to win by third round KO. Up the card, Ian Machado Garry versus Michael Venom Page. Ian Machado Garry, the future, versus Michael Venom Page. When we look at this fight, Ian Garry's 14-0. Michael Venom Page 22-2-0. Minus 120 for Ian Garry. Plus 100 for Michael Venom Page. Ireland versus United Kingdom. 26 years old to 37, 170 to 170, 6'3 to 6'3, 74 and 79. Majority of topologies on Michael Venom Page. I know a lot of people don't like Ian Garry, but you have to admit his skills are very, very good. His loss in Bellator was to Logan Storley by decision split. And you have to take that into consideration that was only 2 years ago. He's able to lose decisions. And if he loses, it's by split or he loses by KO. But prior to that, he KO'd his opponent, won by decision, KO, and then Kevin Holland he beat. So he made a great debut. Ian Garry, Jeff Neal decision split, which is very good that you have to pay attention to that. But I thought that Ian Garry won that unanimously, 29-28. He beat Neil Magny. He could have been able to finish him with the leg kicks. Daniel Rodriguez, Daniel Rodriguez just signed a 6-fight new contract, and he got 30% of Kelvin Gastelum's purse. So Daniel Rodriguez is pretty good. Head kick. But he's not good. He's not on the elite striking like these guys. These guys are gonna put up a masterclass, man. These guys are gonna put up a fight that nobody expects. These guys are gonna put a long. I think it's gonna go 15 minutes. I don't think somebody's gonna get finished. I think this goes the distance, and I think I I don't really like Ian Garry, but I think he's gonna have a lot of success. I think he can even take down Michael Venom Page if he wants to. It's just gonna be very hard. I just think Michael Venom Page has great. His stance is one of his great things about him, and I love the way he goes in and out. And then he capitalizes off of it. Guys, I chose Michael Venom Page as a dog against Kevin Holland. I like Ian Garry. I think he's good. He has very good potential, and he can catch Michael Venom Page and finish him. But I just think that Ian Garry's gonna. Sorry about that. I just think that Ian Garry's gonna finish him. I think he's gonna finish him really bad. I mean, no, whoa, no, no, no. I think Ian Garry's gonna catch him. He's gonna hit him. He's going to hit him with a couple punches. He's going to have some success in the first round. But I think that Michael Venom Page is too clean, too fast, and too smooth. And the way he moves in and out, I know this might not play that much into consideration, but you have to consider Michael Venom Page plays mind games. He does dances and he does like the Undertaker stuff where he moves up and down, and he does different things where like he can lure Ian Garry into a barn burner or more of a fight. Ian Garry tends to be on the outside and tends to throw knees up the middle and has a very good knee up the middle and very good one too. But he tends to get caught, and I think a guy like Michael Venom Page can capitalize on that. I don't think he can finish him though. And I think Ian Garry's definitely going to put up a great performance, but I just think Michael Venom Page is just going to edge this one out by split decision. I think this goes the distance, and I think this goes split decision, and I think whoever wins this fight is going to be up for a next title shot. I think whoever wins this fight is up next, bro. And it's a huge step up in competition because Ian Garry's ranked higher than Michael Venom Page, but it's about time that this fight happens. Maybe early in the career, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. You have to take into consideration that Michael Venom Page is 37 years old, so Ian Garry's going to be faster, but we have to see how Michael Venom Page can capitalize on Ian Machado Garry leaving his chin up in the air sometimes. So I'm going Michael Venom Page to win this by a split decision, 29-28, 28-29 for Ian Garry, and then 29-28 for MVP. I'm a big MVP fan, and don't let the hate on Ian Garry convince you not to bet on him, because Ian Garry at a minus 125 is a great bet, and I'm taking the plus 100 on MVP. But keep an eye on Ian Garry, guys. He is a very good prospect. Mayra, Bueno, Silva versus Macy Chasson. I don't know how the fuck this fight is above fucking MVP and Ian Garry. They've worked so much harder than these girls, bro. But these girls just have to fucking make more time. And a fight that's gonna go decision. Let's just put it on the main card. Mayra Bueno Silva lost to Raquel Pennington. Worst fucking fight I've ever seen in my life. Raquel Pennington is dating Tisha Torres, and they had a baby together and all that shit. Like, how the fuck are you losing to that? And then Holly Holm by submission, standing ninja choke. She got no contest because she popped. Yeah, she's Brazilian and she juices. She's a ped user. No surprise. Macy Chasson, her most two recent losses are to Raquel Pennington submission choke. Everybody's losing to that fucking Raquel Pennington. Irene Aldana by KO, TKO up to the liver. It was kind of a weird KO. And Sao Paulo, Brazil versus Dallas, Texas, 32 years old to 32, 135 to 135, 5'6", 5'11", 66 to 72-inch reach. When we look at this fight, guys, Macy Chasson is going to be the longer fighter. She's going to be taller, but Mayra Bonasilla is going to be able to take her down and do whatever the fuck she wants with her, guys. Macy Chasson has the takedown defense of a baby calf, and I don't think she's going to look good. And if she does look good, it's because Mayra Bonasilla is standing up with her too much, and she's letting Macy Chasson work. But if Mayra Bonasilla is smart, she better take her down. I think Mayra Bonasilla is not as good as we all thought, judging by her performance against Raquel Pennington. Like, bro, we went from Amanda Nunes as champ to fucking Raquel Pennington. Like, what the fuck? And I think Mayra Bonasilla is not as good as we all thought, but I think if she's gonna win a fight, it's the fight that she just it's the fight right after her loss. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take the minus 190 favorite over the plus 160 Macy Chasson. And I'm going to take her to win by unanimous decision, 29-28, 30-27, 29-28. I think it's going to be a dominant performance. And if Macy Chasson doesn't have success in the striking department, it's going to be a long night for her. Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. This fight, Anthony Smith, one of the baddest motherfuckers in the game, steps up to fight Jamal. He would have stepped up to fight Jamal. I know they're friends, but he stepped up to fight when Jamal stepped out. He stepped up to fight Carlos Orberg, and then Carlos Orberg got a little scared, and then he pulled out. And Roman Dolidze steps up, and Anthony Smith is like, "Fuck it, let's go." Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze with a record of 12-3-0. Anthony Smith 37-19-0. Lost to Magomed Ankalaev by KO. Johnny Walker decision, which is not that bad. Khalil Ranchi. It's kind of crazy because Anthony Smith is doing better in his career than Johnny Walker. Khalil Ranchi by KO, really bad uppercut, and then Victor Pacino he beat by submission. So he's on a win. He's on. I don't want to say he's on a win streak, but he's on a win streak. Roman Dolidze 12-3-0 has lost to Marvin Vettori by decision, and he lost to Nasruddin Imavov by decision. Roman Dolidze loves losing a decision, bro. His output is his biggest problem, his lack of output. And if he can't take you down, and his takedown entries are sloppy, then you're gonna be striking with Roman Dolidze all night. And his takedown defense, his takedown attempts are very telegraphed. You can see his takedowns coming from a mile away. He was able to take down Nasruddin Imavov in the last round when he was tired, so you have to take that into consideration. Maybe he takes down Anthony Smith. 6'4", 6'2", 76-inch reach to 76. Guys, I never, ever thought I would say this in my life, bro. I'm going Anthony Lionheart Smith. I'm going Anthony Lionheart Smith, man. Majority of Tapology is on my side, guys. And I don't like looking at Tapology before I make my pick, but I'm going Smith. Just because I think he's ready. I think he would have lost by decision against Carlos Ulberg, but I think now's his time, man. Now that Roman Dolidze stepped up, Carlos Ulberg would have been a tougher matchup. Roman Dolidze, he can work. He can defend the takedowns, work, and win this by unanimous decision. I want to know the odds on this fight. I'm just going to look on the odds on my thing really quick. I just want to know. I think Anthony Smith is a dog, but I don't know why Tapology doesn't have the odds. You're a billion-dollar company, bro, and it's Monday. It's Sunday. You should have the odds already. It's fucking UFC 303. Anthony Smith... He's not here. It's not here yet. Plus 122 for Anthony Smith. Roman Dolidze minus 156. I will be taking the plus 122 on Anthony Smith to win this fight by unanimous decision. 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28. It's going to be a great fight, guys. And I think Roman Dolidze is not as good as we thought. And I think Anthony Smith can win this, and it's about time the veteran shows who's the real dog in the cage. Anthony Lionheart Smith. Let's get it. I never thought I would be picking him, but since Roman Dolidze is not as good as we thought, I'll take the dog on this one. Brian, co-main event, Brian Ortega, the Eagle, or LA, T-City, baby, versus Diego Lopez. This is going to be a crazy fucking fight. Brian Ortega has fucking aura, bro. And I know this doesn't fucking matter, but bro, when I was looking at this fight, bro, I was like, this guy went into Mexico City on elevation, fought in front of his ex-girlfriend, Tracy Cortez, and submitted Yair Rodriguez in Mexico City as the underdog who got dropped in the first round. Brian Ortega has the biggest heart in the featherweight division, and that's why he's still ranked really high up. Diego Lopez is getting a massive shot and a massive step up in competition. 16-3-0 for Brian Ortega, T-City. Diego Lopez, 24-6-0. Diego Lopez trains with Alexa Grasso, and I saw him on Tough with Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. He's always in the corner. He's always helping, and he's always telling people what he feels. This is number 10 versus number 4. I think this is a bigger step up in competition that I've ever seen in the featherweight division. Plus 120 for Brian Ortega, minus 145 for Diego Lopez. 33 years old to 29. Featherweight division, 5'8 to 5'11, 69 inches to 72. Diego Lopez is really good. KO wins over Sadiq Yusuf, who has the chin of a baby. Pat Sabatini, KO, who can't wrestle for shit. Gavin Tucker, he submitted. And Andrei Rodriguez. Diego Lopez is that good. He makes these guys look like bombs. Brian Ortega has lost to Alexander Volkanovski, and then he lost to Yair Rodriguez, KO, shoulder injury, which you can't count because he popped his shoulder, and then he comes back and he fucking beats the shit out of Yair the quitter. Yair is a quitter, bro. It's crazy because Yair's best performance was against Max Holloway, which is a loss. I've never seen Yair look better than the Max Holloway performance, and it sucks because Yair sucks, man. He'll never get the belt. But when we look at this fight, Brian Ortega has more of a chance to get the belt now. If he beats Diego Lopez, he should get a title shot. I just think that a lot of people are very high on Diego Lopez, and they think that he's going to KO Brian Ortega. Ortega, time and time again, is dog after dog after dog after dog. When are people going to learn? But maybe we don't learn. Maybe he deserves to be a dog this time. because Diego Lopez is a menace. But he has not fought anybody on the level of Brian Ortega. And if we're gonna look at this fight, bro, Brian Ortega is fucking good, bro. I know his boxing, he gets caught and he got dropped with Yair Rodriguez, but I can see this fight going 15 minutes, and I think this fight gets out of the first round. Over 1.5, under 1.5 is plus money if you're really high on Diego Lopez, but I'm gonna be going the over 1.5 just because I think it's safer, and I'm gonna be going Brian Ortega. I know Diego Lopez is really fucking good. He's really fucking good, bro. He's gonna KO. He's probably gonna KO Brian Ortega or leave him flat out, like in a weird position that is very uncomfortable for me to see. But I'm gonna be going Brian Ortega to win this by. I think he submits him. I know this is fucking crazy, bro. I know this is fucking crazy. But Brian Ortega, time and time again, I made the mistake against Yair Rodriguez choosing Yair, and I know Diego Lopez would run right through Yair Rodriguez. But I'm going to be going Brian Ortega as an early prediction pick. I'll look at the face-offs and I'll mention my last-minute picks, and maybe I'll do a pick flip, but I'm going Brian Ortega for right now just because I think Brian Ortega can submit Diego Lopez. And I know this sounds crazy and he might have struggles in the exchanges in boxing in the first round, but I think if he can make it out the first and second round, I think he could definitely win this fight. And Brian Ortega just tends to make things work. I don't even know how he's going to win. I just think that his heart is the biggest determining factor of this fight, and I don't think Diego Lopez is going to finish Brian Ortega. I think Brian Ortega has the biggest heart in the game in the featherweight division, and guys like Max Holloway made him better. Guys like Alexander Volkanovski made him better. Guys like Yair Rodriguez, that shoulder pop injury, him taking time off, made him better. And I think he's going to look really good, bro, and I think he's going to beat Diego Lopez by submission. I'm going to be going guillotine submission, probably second or third round. I know this is crazy, a little bit of a Hail Mary, and I'm choosing a lot of dogs on this card just because I think it's due. But don't trust me on this one, guys. If you guys love Diego Lopez, use him. But this is the first time ever in his career Diego Lopez is a favorite. So if you're going to take him now because he's just going to grow as a bigger favorite if he wins this fight. But I'll take the over 1.5 as a safer pick. But I'm going Brian T. City Ortega to win by guillotine, second round or third round. Main event of the evening, Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka 2. Great fight. It's going to be an insane fight. These guys fought each other less than 7 months ago. They fought each other less than 7 months ago at UFC 285, I believe. Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall was the co-main event. And Jamal Hill, he got KO'd by Alex Pereira at UFC 300 2 months ago. And Alex Pereira steps up on short notice to fight Jiri Prochazka, who Conor McGregor, the pull-out fucking merchant, the fucking pussy that McGregor is, bro. I don't care, bro, if you have a broken pinky toe. McGregor used to show up with a broken ACL, and not a broken tear ACL in the middle of his fight. Show up. He was hurt against Mendez, and he still showed up. Jose Aldo pulled out, and Conor McGregor still fought Mendez. And I just think Conor McGregor is not at the pinnacle of his career, and I just hate how he pulled out. It just sucks, but maybe we get a better card because of this, and maybe this is more competitive than Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler would have been. Minus 165 for Alex Pereira, plus 144 Jiri Prochazka, 31 years old to 36, 205, 206, 64 to 63, 80-inch reach, 80-inch reach, almost identical. I know a lot of people are going Alex Pereira by KO because he KO'd him in the last time that they fought in the second round, I believe, because Jiri Prochazka was going for a takedown. A lot of people say that it was an early stoppage. Maybe the stoppage was okay, but I think Jiri Prochazka's win over Alexander Rakic is pretty good, bro. And I know Jamal Hill got KO'd at UFC 300 really bad in the first round, and Payton has that, but I think this fight goes longer than the first fight. I think this fight goes into the third round, and I think it's because Jiri knows something a little bit different this time, and he's going to capitalize off of the left hook. I think Jiri messed up in the beginning by being an unorthodox fighter. That's how he fights, but he had some success by... There was this point where he touched Alex Pereira's knee, and then he went up for an uppercut and caught him. I just think Jiri Prochazka did the best against Alex Pereira. Other than Izzy, Jan controlled him. Maybe arguably could have won that, Jan Blachowicz. He lost by split decision. But I think Jiri Prochazka had the most success, other than Israel Adesanya, in the striking department. And I think it's because he's so unorthodox and so unpredictable. The way he was able to overwhelm Alexander Rakic, and I know he was getting caught in that fight, and he got hit with an elbow, and he was getting caught up in that first round, but then he overwhelmed Rockkick, and Rockkick just fell and he shuddered like a glass house, and he broke. He broke Rockkick. The thing about Jiri is his recovery is way better than his chin. Jiri can get stunned, he can get dropped, and he can get finished. But his recovery is the most important thing about him, and it's his best attribute, the way he's able to recover and come right back. I think his win over Dominic Reyes was one of the best wins. I know Dominic Reyes is very questionable because of where he's at in his career. Alex Pereira has had one of the craziest runs to the UFC title and will be defending his belt. After he lost to Izzy by KO, he's been on a crazy 3-fight win streak, and it might even be 4. I just think that I think this is gonna be a great fight, and I don't think lightning strikes twice in the same direction. I don't think rematches ever play the same. And I think this touches the 3rd round. And if this fight touches the 3rd round and Jiri Prochazka doesn't get finished in the first 3 rounds, he's going to be there to fight. And he's going to be there at 4th and 5th. Jiri Prochazka has gone 5 rounds before. Alex Pereira has gone 5 rounds, but I think Jiri Prochazka's cardio is way better. And not that I'm leaning towards anybody right now, but I just think Alex Pereira does have that nuclear option, and it makes a playing field even. Because Jiri Prochazka likes to get hit. And you need that nuclear option in order to finish a guy like Jiri Prochazka. I'm going to be going Jiri Prochazka, and I'm going to be going by KO. I know this sounds crazy. I know majority of Topology's picking Alex Pereira. 97% of people are picking Alex Pereira by KO. I just think rematches don't play the same. And I think a lot of people are falling into the Alex Pereira hype, but he does tend to leave himself open in his guard. His striking defense is one of his biggest holes in his game. And if he wins this fight, it'll be good for him. But I think we have to take into consideration that he's also 36 years old and he's trying to rush a lot of fights. And he also broke his toe, which is crazy because McGregor pulled out because he broke his toe. So the guy who's stepping in for McGregor is not a bitch, and he actually broke his toe and he's fighting. So it's crazy because you need guys like these. You need guys that step up for competition and step up and are willing to put their whole career on the line just for this fight. And a guy who's willing to put his career on the line for this fight is a guy who's willing to risk different exchanges and risk a different outcome, because I don't remember a rematch ever in the UFC ever playing the same. Whether it was a rematch outside, maybe you can say Usman Covington 1 and then Usman Covington 2 was a little bit more competitive, but I think rematches never play the same, and I'm using that as my biggest attribute to choose my fight. So I'm going Jiri Prochazka just because rematches never play the same. I know majority of Topology is going 75% are going by KO. Alex Pereira. 75% of the people are picking Alex Pereira. 25% are picking Prochazka. 75% of people are picking by KO. And then 86.4% are picking by KO for Jiri Prochazka. But out of the 25%, I don't like stats. You can't get too much into stats because when you look at the striking defense of Jiri Prochazka, it's you can't take that all into consideration because he uses it to overwhelm you and to gas you out. And I think a guy like Alex Pereira is going to look a little different in this fight. I don't know why. I just think Jiri Prochazka is going to have a lot more success than he did in the first round and second in his first time around. And I think he's going to look way better. And I think Jiri Prochazka is going to capitalize on a lot of. He just has to be careful with the leg kicks. You got to be careful with the leg kicks, bro. When it comes to Alex Pereira is just going to be leg kicking, left hook, and then the jab to the body. Alex Pereira was having a lot of success with the jab, but the thing about his guard is very open and it's very susceptible to uppercuts. I just think and over the top because of his guard. His guard is very tight. I just think Jiri Prochazka is a guy who's a brawler, and give me the plus 140 to beat Alex Pereira at minus 165. If you want to take Alex Pereira at minus 165, it's a great piece, but I think Jiri Prochazka is just going to overwhelm Alex Pereira, and I think he's going to finish Alex Pereira in the 3rd round, just because or it goes full distance, but I think he's going to finish him in the 3rd round just because I think Jiri Prochazka overwhelms his opponent, and I think rematches never play the same. And whether Alex Pereira KOs him, it's not going to be in the 2nd round. I think it's going to be later. Somebody definitely gets finished this fight, so if you want to put this fight definitely does not go to the distance, you can use that, and you can use Payton Talbott, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this video, guys. Drop a like, comment down below, comment your most anticipated fight, and comment who you got in the main event, guys. I got Jiri Prochazka to win this fight by 3rd round KO. I said Alex Pereira because I was looking at him right now, and his tattoos actually look pretty fucking sick. But the run that Alex Pereira has came up on is to be respected, man. And at a minus 165, the guy who he recently just beat, why wouldn't you take it? But I'm just taking into consideration that rematches never play the same. And give me Jiri Prochazka from Czech Republic to win this fight. 3rd round KO. Drop a like on the video. Comment your most anticipated dog. And comment who the fuck you got. Let me know your most anticipated fight. Let's get it. See you guys at the top. Peace. Hey.